Hello, everyone, and welcome to 10,000 Tacos. I'm Isidro Salas, but most people know me as the proud son of a taquero. And just in case you don't know what a taquero is, well, a taquero is a person who makes and sells a lot of tacos. And that's the short answer. The long answer, well, keep coming back to 10,000 Tacos, and as the show develops, you'll hopefully get to see what a taquero is. I don't know. Look, I mean, people may not know what a taquero is. I know. Some, you have to assume that some don't. Just like some people may not know what a taco is. Yes, as ubiquitous as they are, tacos, some people refer to them as soft shell tacos. But before we get to the meat of that, get it? Meat? No? Anyway, before we get to that, let me tell you a little bit about what the show is, right? What this is about. It's a podcast of short stories and experiences from growing up in a taco truck. And as I've shared these stories, people just wanted to know more, not just about the food and the recipes, but also the culture. So welcome everybody. Bienvenidos. That means welcome, just in case. But there is more. There is more about the show. It's also to help bridge a gap that I believe exists. This gap is where there are people who want to know more about the food, the culture, and of course, recipes. People want to know recipes. But these people are simply afraid to ask. And they may be afraid to ask because there are people like me, or what I used to be, who sometimes ridicule those very questions. And so they are afraid to ask. And I understand that. So this show also helps me to be a better listener and a person who wants to do good, like, build that bridge, not a wall. Build a bridge, not a wall. We can't have a wall. Anyway, to build that bridge to connect those who want to know more about this wonderful, wonderful food. So, we'll get started with what's not the proper name for what people call soft shell taco. So what do I mean by a soft shell fallacy? Well, let's start with the word fallacy. The implication that this is false. Ooh, playing with fire there, Isidro. It's a little spicy. There are people who there may be people who get offended by this. I could just imagine, What do you mean there's no such thing as a soft shell? Are you calling my mama a liar? That's a little scary. A soft shell, just the sound of it, it's an oxymoron. And no, I'm not calling you a moron. No, look up oxymoron. They are contradicting. It's a contradicting pair. A shell is like something that protects, like a turtle shell or a seashell. It's hard. And, well, something soft is flexible, malleable. You're able to bend it. So how can you have something that is hard and soft at the same time? Legitimate question. Perhaps that is one way to state the case, right? That, it's an oxymoron. And yet there is another. From my experience and expertise, yes, I am an expert in tacos. I never used to call myself an expert, but now I do. And as I've gone to do this a little bit more and learn more and more, I am adding to that. And I do call myself an expert, for this reason. The spread of misinformation as it relates to tacos. Yeah, that is a thing. And I want to do something about that. Even as simple as a soft shell, whatever. Now, I could deduce how and why this came to be. Some of it may have been by design and, of course, marketing. But I can see how this may have been done innocently. I can see this scenario playing out. Many people got used to thinking that tacos were made with a fried tortilla, which was folded prior to frying, and the hardness of that tortilla was referred to as a shell. I could see that happen. There are proper terms for that. It's a tortilla, and it's a tostada when it's fried. And if it's folded, then there's a different term for that. We're here for the tortilla's sake, so the tortilla is really the star here. But anyway, let's go back to that scenario. You see it everywhere. When you go to a grocery store, hard shells sold here. You see the signs everywhere. And with the likes of Taco Bell calling them hard shells, people just got used to it, right? So I can see that. And when people started Columbusing, when they started discovering the real tacos, the ones that I grew up with, making, selling, and eating, these people may have naturally thought, well, if the first tacos were hard shell tacos, then the opposite should be soft, bro. The opposite of hard is soft, bro. Whoa, we'll just call them soft tacos, bro. Sweet. Well, that's not exactly what happened, but, maybe. I don't know. It might have happened. No. Yeah. But it's a thing. It's a thing I hear very, very often. Often enough to tell you about the falsehood as it relates to tacos. I first noticed that it was a serious level back in 2017 at my first podcast movement in Anaheim, California. For those of you unfamiliar, it's where Disneyland is located. It was there. I had just published my first episode. I was so freaking excited, right? I was just, elated. I was walking around with my head up high. I was just up there telling everyone that I had a podcast. Only to find out that everyone and their mother there already had a podcast. But even then, even if everyone there had a podcast, I was like, well, not everyone has a tacos podcast. And so I rode that gravy train to whoever would listen. I have a tacos podcast. And of course, I was on the main floor where all the vendors and all these people who I looked up to at the same time, I was like, man, I'm amongst royalty. I was so damn starstruck. I thought I was just on cloud nine. I was so freaking excited. I was like a kid in front of Michael Jackson. Scratch that. That's a horrible analogy. But I was so in cloud nine. I could have been. I could have been sold a condom with holes on it. I was buying everything that day. So I was like combination of being excited and everything. And as I encountered people about my podcast, I told them, of course, 10,000 Tacos was turning heads and people just seemed interested. So the question I was getting was not about podcasting or my journey or whatever equipment I was using or planning to get. The question that I kept getting and kept coming up was, what do you prefer? Do you like hard shell or soft shell? And I was like, really? After a while, I was like, really? Every third person was asking me that. I finally turned to my wife and I asked her, are they serious? Really? Do people really think there's a soft shell that even exists? And the answer was yes. As I started to ask those who asked me about tacos, do you really think there is a such thing? I would ask. And it was a resounding yes. And remember, I was a newbie to the podcast space, so I didn't want to ruffle any feathers there. So I just went along with it. And I'm like, okay, man, I prefer the soft ones. But something just kept telling me this was wrong. That is not its name. It's a simple tortilla. It is not a soft shell. It is just a tortilla. And it's not a hard shell, or it's not a soft shell taco. It is just a taco. It is just a taco. And tacos, they all come in different shapes and in many cases different colors. And I could see there is a need to translate taco dorado, right? The fried taco, what most people consider that. That's what it's called. It's a taco dorado, fried taco. And I know that there's a need to translate taco with a tortilla. But there shouldn't be a need. We have many things and many names that do not need translation. Let me give you a small example. Let's take where I live. I live in the beautiful state of Colorado. Some people say Colorado, some people say Colorado, which means red. It literally translates to red. And we could all agree, we could just call it Colorado, right? And the tortilla is just a tortilla. There is no need for translation. There's no need. But the real reason it's important to me is because of this. Making tortillas is a process that has been around for about, give or take, 10,000 years. And despite technological advancements in a lot of things, this process still remains pretty much untouched. Let's just say it is sacred. That process is sacred to many of us. That process is called nixtamalization. Nixtamal. I know that's a very difficult word to pronounce and to remember. But I find it disrespectful to all the moms, grandmas, who do this on a daily basis. Because nobody asked them if they can call it something else. Nobody ever asked them if they could. So please, don't call them soft shells. They are just tortillas, and they are freaking good. I'm the proud son of a taquero, and this is 10,000 tacos.